The scene begins with the female lead kneeling before the king, exhausted after her long journey from the northern campaigns. The king presented our female lead with a marriage candidate of her choice, in recognition of her life on the battlefield and her role in leading the country to victory. Our female lead was surprised while people were whispering. Gasps erupt throughout the hall. Asha sees sneers and looks of disgust cross the faces of the nobles. She grits her teeth, used to their arrogance by now. How could she, who spent her whole life on a bloody savage battlefield, be considered a woman? One woman even stated that she wished such a woman would not marry her son. Hold up! How dare they? She was out on the battlefield to keep your little duck mouth safe. And you have the audacity. Her father was a legendary warrior who rescued the crown prince 30 years prior. He was dispatched to the northern lands because the crown prince was envious. Pervaz, the abandoned kingdom, was simply a hopeless piece of land with no support. Her father died, and then her brothers, one by one. She was then burdened with the ongoing battle, and finally after 25+ years. Asha won the long years of war, and it came with a royal decree of a reward. Asha's companion was skeptical of the king keeping his promise. If Pervaz does not receive anything, the people will starve. She expected to receive funding but instead received a marriage proposal. What in the world? Does she need the king's permission to marry? When the king heard the news about Asha's dead father and brother, he was so sad that he was crying. Yeah, hell no. He was like, oh, too bad. Then he thought of something, that meant that Asha would inherit the land of Pervaz as a woman. That is when he brought up the topic of marriage. He gave her a list of noble options. Screw this man. He killed her father and then had his eyes on the land. Asha asked, if the person she picked did not want to marry her, the emperor said that would be going against his order, and if they did not they had to pay the emperor and Asha money. Asha's eyes narrowed. At last, she understood his conniving scheme. No man would willingly wed a so-called barbarian and would want to also pay alimony. In that case, Asha picked the crown prince who lost his power. Carlisle Haven lost his power 4 days ago because of a conflict with his father. By picking the crown prince this way, if he declines, the royal family will have to compensate Asha, which the stupid king did not expect. He was shocked and pissed. Serve him right, how dare he try to do that to our female lead. All he knows is schemes. He is digging his own grave, old man. The whispering started again, asking if she had a piece of screw loose and how she could marry the crown prince known as the god of war and carnage. After picking the crown prince, the king called her a cunning fox. Carlisle, the crown prince, could not hold his laughter anymore and burst laughing, covering his face. He walked toward Asha and said he accepted her marriage proposal. Asha was shocked because what she needed was money, not a husband. Carlisle and Asha have a private meeting in which Carlisle asks if she knows how he lost the title of crown prince. The rumor was that he desired his father's lover, his stepmother. Seeing she was quiet, Carlisle asked if she liked his appearance and Asha answered that she wanted a body like his, for fighting advantages, but it will never happen. Carlisle proposes a deal in which they will sign a 3-year marriage contract and then divorce. He will assist Asha with money and protection for her territory, and she will let him stay there and not interfere with his plans. Asha said that she would agree to this contract on one condition: her subjects remain unharmed, regardless of the games he play. So they signed a contract. As Carlisle said to his advisor Lionel, after she left, he is waiting for a good opportunity to get rid of anyone who wants his position. A flashback of Carlisle's past: he went to war at 15. His stepmother wanted to kill him to make her son the crown prince, after his mother's death. She was willing to do anything to get rid of him, so Viviana fabricated a lie about Carlisle entering her room in the night, and that is how his title was stripped. The king is a schemer, but he is being fooled by the evil woman. He is blind to his own kind. End of the flashback. Lionel asks if he is going to marry her after just meeting her. And it is revealed that it is not Carlisle's first time meeting her. A few days ago Carlisle was ambushed by 3 people asking for money. It was a 3-against-1 fight until Asha and her subordinate stepped in, making it a 3-versus-3 fight. The fight was over after the 3 people ran away. Asha and her subordinate asked Carlisle for a cheap inn to stay in. And that was their first meeting. Carlisle said she was perfect because she was weary and didn't care about his position. Asha told her subordinate that they would leave after a small wedding. Asha and Carol were trying on dresses for the wedding. She had to try something she had never tried. She stepped out nervously in the intricately laced corset and elegant hairdo, unrecognizable from her usual armor and braids. She stepped out to show Carlisle, who burst out laughing at the sight, saying she looked like she got conquered. Since the dress was simple, he said he knew what would add the finishing touch to a ruby necklace of his mother Ivelina. It was Asha's first time seeing a ruby. She did not know how expensive it was, so Carlisle translated it into buying a 100 horse. His fingers made swift work of fastening the necklace. As his calloused fingers grazed her skin, Carlisle inhaled deeply. Her perfume smells of grass. It suits her well, he thought as his palm lingered upon her cheek in a gentle caress. Asha was in a trance with a beating heart because Carly's hand felt like the hand of a warrior. On the day of the wedding, guess who was one of the people that showed up? The person who was supposed to be the crown princess by marrying Carlisle, Cecilia. Cecilia felt confident in herself and her looks because golden eyes are preferred and liked by his stepmother. Well, that is awkward. It is even more awkward that she still has thoughts about Carlisle when he is marrying our female lead. Everyone was waiting to see Asha because they thought she did not look like a proper lady, but when she stepped in they were amazed and shocked that she received the necklace of his late mother. While everyone was shocked, sweet Cecilia was drinking vinegar. Her face did not look good. Some bloody drama. I should have brought popcorn. When they exchange rings, Carlisle whispers for her to sell the ring at the auction house for a better price, because the ring to Asha was money she could use for the people of Pervaz. They said their vows, and when it was time to kiss, well, Carlisle took the first step. After a while, he was doing extra, so Asha bit him. The priest was stuck in the middle of whatever was going on. When it was time to leave for Pervaz, Asha could not go back because she needed to deliver supplies, so her subordinates had to go alone. Her subordinates got attacked many times, but Carlisle's hidden guard came to the rescue, so they were able to arrive at Pervaz safely. A few days later in the imperial house, Carlisle was talking to his brother, Maddie, and his father, saying that Maddie would have to take on the responsibility as the crown prince that he once had. Carlisle was welcoming his brother to reality. The topic was then moved to Carlisle and Asha dowry. A dowry is where the bride's family gives gifts, money, or property to the groom or his family. But Carlisle requested 50 million, which the king thought was too much. Maddie was like they should be even thankful they received 1 million. Carlisle was like, you should be careful of what you say because you have never been in war, you do not know the struggle that Pervaz has faced. He is the definition of a well-protected prince, while after all his mom is doing everything for her son. After all, he is a mommy boy. Father and son were not too happy when Carlisle said that his father did not teach Maddie well. After explaining what happened to Asha, Carlisle was laughing, saying they should have seen their faces. Asking how come they did not think about the issue of military control, the power to control soldiers which only the emperor has. Which means for any losses he has to take responsibility. If Carlisle had lost when he was in battle, then he would have been erased from the royal family. Asha complimented Carlisle about his unwillingness to give up on life, but Carlisle was not sure if it was a compliment. He introduces someone who was against his marriage and also his teacher, Giles Raffald. A passionate speech from Giles after Asha asks if it is true that Carlisle has the blessing of God. He ended with how disappointed he was with the scheme of tagging the crown prince positions. Giles turned to Ahas not before Ahas cut a keyword of how Carlisle was falsely accused of lusting over his stepmother, that her job is to protect Carlisle from people like his family. Carlisle said that he can protect himself and it is her moral duty to be his shield. She must also protect herself because her stepmother would try to pull her to her side or try to kill her, so her marriage with Carlisle would be dissolved. A few days later they were departing for Pervaz. Asha was amazed at the good that they were brining with them. When leaving in a carriage, Carlisle has to say goodbye to the people. He is like Santa giving out candy and people love him. Carly was loved and trusted by the people, which is needed to regain his position. Carlisle came into the carriage looking tired as he slumped on the seat. Asha was surprised by the change, and Carlisle replied that he wanted to come off as a god to them. After traveling for a while they had to stop because it was getting late. And a problem came: they had to share a tent since they were now married. Inappropriate thoughts started to appear in Asha's mind. As Asha came out from the carriage thinking she did not act the way a lady should when compared to others. Girl, do not listen to them. All they know is how to run their mouth. They have something in common and you are unique. They are just narrow-minded. Asha looked up at the sky and was thinking about her dead family and what they would think of her. She hoped that Pervaz was safe because it now depended on Carlisle. But Asha snapped herself out of it by splashing water on her face and slapping herself, saying that she got herself and Pervaz into this mess and she should be the one to take it out. Carlisle was hiding in the background and came out after she walked away. It was his first time seeing a woman wash her face like that and in such cold water, making her more interesting. Coming back to the tent with his face wet, he saw Asha getting ready to sleep on the floor. He said he wouldn't stop her if that was what she wanted. He used style to take off his shirt, saying the water was cold. But after seeing Asha's face that did not change, he was disappointed, asking her to take care of him as a wife or temporary helper. What Asha did, he did not expect. One person is on the bed and the other is on the floor. After a moment of silence, Carlisle asked her to tell him more about Pervaz, for example, how cold it was there, and when Asha answered ridiculously, he started laughing. Carlisle said that if she could end the war then she must be special. Asha answers that she still has a lot to improve when compared to her brother and father. Her father, knowing he was being sent to his death, wanted to still try his best for Pervaz. Carlisle thought Asha was amazing for her to not run away. As Carlisle wanted to ask more questions, he found out that Asha was asleep. Somewhere else, someone was acting like a baby, saying he did not want to go to war, but his mother always had a way. A few days later, on the land of Pervaz, Carlisle was surprised about the conditions. It seemed like they were living in the desert. Asha said the plan was to fix it after getting the people food first. It estimated around 500,000, which would not be enough, but she did not know that she had the best playing card, as Carlisle called it. When they go to the castle, Carlisle's servant complains about staying in such a place. Okay, excuse me, you can always leave at any time. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. Imagine a servant being so privileged, my God. Carlisle did not seem to care about the living conditions and just asked where he was sleeping. Asha said that he has all the second floor to himself and her servants and she will stay on the first floor. One of the subordinates told her he saved his room on the first floor for her and the servant put a great effort into it. When she saw the room she laughed. Busty, the person who decorated the room and brought the idea, said that nobles sleep in such a bed. Asha thanked every one of them sincerely. They even brought a servant named Nina to help her with tasks like cleaning her room, meals, and combing her hair. Carlisle asked Lionel to look more into the important figures in Pervaz, especially one of their servants who put his arm around Asha as he offered his room. Lionel replied that he had already looked into Derek. He was the oldest in the Donovan family and was taken in by Asha's father. He was supposed to be Asha's marriage partner. After the goods from the capital arrived, things improved, people had food, and everyone was satisfied when Asha went to check on the distribution. Someone called Asha saying that the lumber had arrived. She was surprised. Carlisle not only brought extra lumber but also made it flame-resistant. Carlisle requested Asha's time. When she went, Carlisle said he would like to show the things he brought were being used. Asha was amazed that he was interested in the state of Pervaz, so she said she would go and bring the reconstruction plans right away. Carlisle was surprised that she went immediately. Lionel said she was not the type of person that would embezzle the money. When Asha came back and brought back the book of records as proof, Lionel was really surprised she did not have anything under her name. Meanwhile, Viviana went to talk to the priest, the prince who did Asha and Carlisle's wedding. Saying that he said that if Carlisle became the king, the future of the empire would be dark. Viviana asked the priest to support Maddie and her. The priest agreed under one condition, that if Macius does get the throne then the empire must become a holy land. The priest clarified that the land will be ruled by the law of Ilahi. I would not trust a woman like her. She will say yes and promise now, but will later go back on her words. She is like a snake that will get away with anything. Viviana said she needed more time to think, and as she was walking away, the priest's face did not look good. In Pervaz, Carlisle and Lionel are practicing sword fighting when Carlisle starts talking about the heat, and guess what he does? He pulls off his shirt and pours some cold water. At this point, I think the author wants to rub Carlisle's body frame in our faces every chance they get. While watching Carlisle, Lionel said that Asha seemed in a hurry to improve their agriculture. Carlisle added that she looked happy and he could only tell when he looked closer at her expression. Lionel brought up a concern about the attitude of the servant they brought, but Carlisle said it would not be a problem. When Nina the maid crossed paths with the maid that Carlisle brought, the maid was acting entitled. Poor Nina apologized and started crying. Nina ran into the chief maid, Ramir, and she comforted Nina. Ramir then went to Derek and told him what happened. Derek was not willing to sit down and not do anything. He said he would have a talk with Asha about the problem. After hearing what happened, Asha went to talk to Carlisle looking not too happy. Carlisle caught on and asked why she was not happy. She explained what had happened and Carlisle replied that he does not think his servant would have said anything wrong. Asha asked to view the contract again, which stated that Carlisle Group should respect Pervaz as a whole. Carlisle asked what would happen if he did not do anything. Asha was pissed. This is the first time that I have seen her pissed. Asha with a serious face said if he did not care, then the contract was over. Saying, there is no medicine for the bite of a wild dog. Simply put, it's better to be careful and take precautions in situations that could be dangerous or have long-lasting effects, rather than relying on a cure afterward. Carlisle with a smile asked Lionel to gather the servant. And that is the end of chapter 10.